Hello again. Hope you had a little bit of an opportunity to go to the tables and start having a little bit of a chat. And now you get all pulled back in to have a little bit of a journey with Jose. And without any delays, here is Jose. See you in a bit.
All right. Thank you, Nelson. Let me try to share my screen. Can I get some thumbs up on the screen? Awesome. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming, and kudos to the organization for all this this event. It's been a good experience for me, and hopefully I can. I didn't know about the this meetup, so I'm definitely gonna come to new sessions. And thanks, Pedro, for for your presentation and for sharing your story. Now I kind of feel awkward because I feel my story is going to be a little bit similar to yours, but I'll try to focus on some of the stuff that you probably experienced, but maybe you didn't say. Yeah, what this talk is about is a quick glimpse of my story. I only have 15 minutes, hopefully a little bit more. And why and how did I go abroad? I went to California and I lived there for 7 years, and I came back. Funnily enough, right now I'm in my hometown, and yeah, idea is to demystify some of the ideas around how can you get there, and maybe it's not as complex or complicated as you think, and after this you're very welcome to reach out to me to get some help or ideas on how can you do your own course. So start with just a quick intro. I'm Jose. I'm the Senior Director of Engineering at Barracuda Networks right now, which is a cybersecurity network security company that's based out of Campbell in Bay Area. I graduated from FEUP almost 10 years ago or 10 years ago. I actually did a master's in electrical engineering, and I started a PhD in informatics engineering, but I dropped off. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. And then I traveled to the US, working in a couple of startups, working at bigger companies, which were due to the acquisitions of my startups, and then I returned to Portugal. So yeah, how did all of this started? And I think I really wanted to spend some time here, since I know there are some students here or people that are starting your career, professional career here, hopefully in tech. And yeah, I'm what I would like to say, the typical story of a suburban kid. I'm from Marco de Canavezes, which is a small town 50 kilometers from Porto, so it's kind of close, and very close in US standards. I always had some curiosity on electronics and programming, although I only started doing real programming around my 10th grade, which was kind of close to college, but I knew what was programming before going to college. Why I went to electronics engineering, this is a kind of funny, but I didn't want to spend my life in front of a computer, which kind of turned out not to be true, at least until now. And yeah, and when I graduated from high school, I moved to Porto. I still came home for laundry and stuff, and to see my parents. But on FEUP, I was regular student. I'm guess like Pedro, not too bad, also not too great. But what I think I got lucky with at the time was that I actually started building some portfolio before I actually went out to for looking for jobs. So I kind of feel cringed about it right now, but I had this blog, and I actually had a nickname and stuff, which I still use it, funnily enough. I was trying to share some of my experiences, trying to do projects that were exciting to me, and some other ones I did open source. I was trying to uh, belong to the community, and not really with a specific intention, but I wanted to hedge my bets, and I knew that if I put my work out there, maybe I would get some visibility, not with a specific goal in mind, but maybe, well, at least I'm building a portfolio. I'm building like a dynamic CV almost, and people can know what I'm working on. So I did like VNC server for Android. I worked on this remote for Meo, and I also did this Super Tux. I don't know if you guys know this game, which was originally for Linux. So just kind of goofing around, doing some projects, and at the same time trying to making my social network, which one was on mostly GitHub. And today I still do the same thing. I try to keep at least the things, the websites that point to me updated, or otherwise I just try to kill them, not with a goal in mind, just to maybe one day someone is going to notice me for something, and I'm going to be ready to whatever comes. Yeah, so luckily enough, when I was around my fourth year on university, I started having some foreign contacts, and this was mostly around this VNC project that I did. People wanted me to modify the VNC server for this use case, or maybe do some other custom work on Android, which was funny, or kind of I was kind of weirded out, because I was becoming an Android developer, even though I really didn't want to. I just wanted to learn about it. I saw myself as I'm gonna just try to learn some technologies, although I guess it was a good idea at the time, since I was focusing on a niche. Android at the time, I think, was on version 1.5 or something like that. So it was really in the beginning, and you wouldn't see Android developers that much. So yeah, that was very interesting to see. And some other skills that I learned from this was I didn't even know how much to charge for these things. So I kind of had to hustle my way into like trying to make myself be expert, or not look too naive about how much I want to make, or how do I invoice or something like that. Those were all like weird questions that I tried to answer on the spot, or within the next few days, within few days. Yeah, so I was doing some work, and in the meantime, like Pedro was kind of pointing out, there was really no startup scene in Portugal, or real product companies. And I'm guessing, I might be guessing wrong, but Pedro went to do some consulting companies, because that's what it was at the time. It was mostly about services, the Portuguese tech industry. So yeah, I didn't see myself going for like FASEC or something like that. So at the time, my master's advisor from my thesis, he told me to go to PhD, and I was lucky enough to get access to a scholarship. So I just went, kind of like thinking maybe I'll figure out what to do next. But first year started, I started having all these courses. I got super demotivated, and by the first semester, I didn't do anything. Basically, I kind of skipped half of the courses. I failed in pretty much all of them, as far as I can remember. And I didn't have a plan. I was kind of failing. I was still trying to, do the research, which I like that part. But yeah, I couldn't bring myself to, doing all these courses that I didn't care for. So, and then suddenly and randomly, I got this, another email about an opportunity, and this was a guy that wanted me to join his company, or the company that he wanted to create in the Bay Area, and he offered to basically sponsor the visa to go there. And I was a bit shocked, mostly because I didn't have any expectation or desire to go to the US. And it was not just US, it was the other side of the US, which is a 16-hour plane flight from my house. So it's not an easy decision. So me and my girlfriend at the time, which is now my wife, we thought on it for a bit, and we decided to go and kind of go into this journey. And yeah, I mean that's how how randomly I ended up there, just from an offer. Another funny story is that since I was doing already some contract work, I told this guy, which is my friend now, I didn't want to go because I was kind of thinking that I was going through, to a closer place, maybe New York or something, from the other contract works, and I couldn't sleep that night. I just basically, I changed the plan and I accepted, last minute, in the middle of the night, and that completely changed my, my future, my life. So, and so just so you see how fast all of this, was, and sometimes it will happen to you, for sure. Is first contact was in April, and I forgot to mention I couldn't find the email about this opportunity. I found a couple other emails, but these were reverse engineering guys, so my emails are all PGP encrypted, so I can't read them. I don't know where's the key anymore. So first contact in April. In June, I went there for 2 weeks. I took this picture, and that's where I kind of like came to realization. Shit, I'm alone halfway across the globe, and I don't even know who these people are. I mean, my parents couldn't sleep for like 2 days, since they thought that the story kind of rolls on, but I went to the middle of the woods because this guy lived there. So it was he's Turkish, so it was kind of weird but funny at the same time. In October, my visa got approved, and me and my girlfriend, we moved within the week. So that was pretty fast. And the rest is mostly history. We got so me and my co-founders, we got so well together at the time that they appointed me as a co-founder, although I wasn't there from the beginning. I think I came in maybe 2 or 3 months after they started working on the idea. And we got so along so well, and this is when kind of luck sometimes comes in. We got so well that 2 days after I went to the US, I went and moved out to his place. We kind of canceled the hotel, and we just I lived at his house with his wife and kids. It was awesome. And yeah, I mean, we founded Remotium. Some amazing stories there. I'm not gonna be too focused on this part, but we were fortunate enough to be acquired by Avast, and then 2 years after, and then 2 years down the road, we left and we co-founded Five. So 3 of the founders were also founders on this startup, along with Luisa, which is she's from Portugal. She's my good friend that I met on PhD. Maybe one of the best things that happened on my PhD was to meet Luisa, and she joined us, and we opened an office in Porto, and again, also hustling through the times. 2 years later, we sold the company to Barracuda, which is where I am today. So some takeaways that I want you guys to get from here, and from my experience, I took some time to think what I think it's important for you to take from here. First and foremost, put yourself out there, have a blog post, I don't know, make videos, TikToks, I don't know what's the last technology today. Just make yourself visible, and invest in the things that you like. And it might not, it might take some time to get traction, but you need to invest. The earlier you invest, the faster you're gonna get, the luck of seeing something. And there's always gonna be something. If you focus on a niche, you might be luckier. Again, on my side, it was about Android. I really didn't know at the time, but new technology, maybe crypto is the wave today. I don't know. And embracing failure, again, like Pedro was saying, failure as a learning experience. It's really important, and we fail throughout the times. I know that I'm putting these things too positive, but we failed a lot. I mean, just to give you an example, on FIDE, I actually had to fire everyone in Portugal because we got out of money before we sold the company a few months later. So not everything is roses. And invest in people that care about you, your family, friends, co-workers. They're going to make you succeed, and you're going to make them succeed as well. And stay humble. You're going to realize that you're not an expert on anything, and the world, I mean, there's so many people in the world that I feel insignificant every day. So just learn as much as you can and do your contribution. So going big, and that's kind of what my decision, our decision when we went to the US is, we're gonna go big, and then we'll see what happens. So meet and breathe new cultures. This is extremely important. You can only understand what it is about once you're there. Being remote, it's not gonna cut it, because this is mostly about knowing other people, knowing people from the most diverse backgrounds, and it's gonna have a feedback loop on you. It's gonna make you even humbler, I think. Don't be too picky about the path you're going. If you're too specific in what you want, you might not get as luck as you might have. For example, I had some, I think cybersecurity kind of chose my path. I didn't choose it because I got that invitation. If it was, I don't know, a laundry tech startup, maybe I would have gone, right? So we never know. And always have a plan B. So be ready to come back if it doesn't work out. Although try never to unmotivate in terms of what the experience is. If it doesn't work out, take it as a learning experience and try again. And most of all, learn a lot, work a lot, rest a lot as well. It's important to disconnect at some point, and always some bit of luck. I consider myself very lucky in some of the steps that I got along the way. And then, I mean, go home, which kind of is what I did. I think it's important to share the journey, and this is kind of what I'm doing right now. I think it's important to be inspired by others, and to kind of make the thing real. Bring the tools that you have and the money. In my case, I wanted to open an office in Porto for a variety of reasons, talent, also business reasons. It's cheaper here. That I'm we gotta be realistic, but also bring investment to our country, and again inspire people to have a Silicon Valley culture startup, because this is what's gonna move our our engine faster within our country or our local communities. Help others get there, and I start by being the example. You guys, I'm gonna give you guys my email if you're trying to go outside, if you're trying to go big, let me know. Sorry, someone was calling me. And be the change you want to see. And after all of this happens, hopefully you can rinse and repeat. Today I'm in Marco. I just had my first kid. I'm really grateful of being here. I like to leave my kid with my parents and then go and not having to worry about it. In California, it wouldn't be so easy. So maybe, who knows, in 2 years or something, I'll just go somewhere else. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you very much. I don't know what this is showing. That's my talk.
Hello. Wow, that was perfect. Thank you so much, Jose. Well, we actually matched it up to 20 minutes. So if we actually have a little bit of Q&A, I think I already have. So you can see the question, if you want, I can read it for you. But would you consider going back to California?
I mean, most definitely. I guess one of the yeah. Look, the one of the takeouts from my presentation is never close the door, right? I would probably not go there by default. Like I would prefer going to, I don't know, Japan or something. I would put myself out of my comfort zone again. And California for me now is comfortable. I know a lot of people there. I have a lot of friends, but I would definitely go if there was the opportunity. If there's something funny or interesting to go there, and also the time aligns, right? I have a kid now and a wife, so it's not as easy.
As easy. Cool. So I'll just mark this as necessary. I have just one short question just before we actually go back to the tables and do the closing round. You talked a lot about creating a portfolio, about creating your own brand. Is that something? Because I look, for instance, even from my own experience and seeing yours and from Pedro, it's really easy for us to just say like, okay, it's not something a developer does. We kick a few GitHub projects, we showcase, yeah, I did this, or a lot of experiments that we put up. But I heard a lot from you that it was really about like at least building something, and then actually it resonates because work comes, right? So people start engaging. So it is really good to have your own branding.
Totally. I mean, I had, even today I will have in emails, asking to do some work just because I have so many. My reach is much bigger, right? With projects, with applications on the App Store. So, I mean, if you're doing contract, if you want to be a freelancer, I would say that's probably the number one priority you should focus right now. Like, make projects. It can be a library. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be a product. I mean, those were not, my VNC server was a start button. Like there was no real UI. And I would have people asking me to do Android, and I didn't know that much UI. So, but there was, my profile was up to date. Like you could see, I was alive. Like it wasn't something I did 5 years ago on university. It has to be something current. I can tell from personal experience. I've hired people from Portugal just from their GitHub. I pretty much didn't have to interview them.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, if they have a quality project on GitHub, well, I need to do the culture fit part, which is important. But technically, it's a no-brainer.
Nice, that's good. Jose, thank you so much once again.
Of course, thanks for having me.
We do have another question. I'm just going to put it on stage, and after that, we will get to the tables. And if back in Portugal, how do you rate startups compared to California? Ooh.
I'm guessing how do I rate startups here, right? Compared.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting question. Well, in terms of amount of startups, it's not comparable. There's just, too many like the tech scene in Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area, is insane. It's like you go to the laundry and you talk to a developer. You go to the bar, you talk to developers or product managers. That's what they do. Like, and that's the cool thing about Silicon Valley. You can meet people randomly. You can meet, I don't know, a billionaire going to withdraw money from the bank. And that's a very cool thing. But that's something that I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed that in Porto now. Like I feel the vibe in the air much more techy than I would when I left Porto in 2012. I guess government policy helped a lot because Porto was kind of zombie city almost. The downtown was very out of shape in terms of the building qualities and everything. So that helped a lot. In terms of the startup scene, I think it's getting way better. There's a lot of companies, setting up shop here, product companies. I think that's very important. It's not your consulting companies that you would see, 10 years ago. There's a lot of product companies, and you actually do, real IP. And I think that right now it's getting to a point where we actually are lacking developers, which is I guess it's an interesting problem to have. But if it doesn't get fixed soon enough, the traction of all this investment might slow down a bit. Right now it's super hot. I think it's a good thing. It's a bad thing for other reasons, of course. Rents are through the roof. But I think if government can be work together with our industry, things could get pretty interesting for Portugal.
Cool. And would people like yourself actually and Pedro joining in and actually bring some of your expertise and sharing your experience, I think it really helps. So thank you once again. We're going to just end the session and then we'll turn the tables. See you in a bit.
All right. See you.